thank you for attending another week of Lightning Talks. For those of you who don't know me, I am Jen Crawford, and I have the pleasure of co-hosting Lightning Talks here at In Rhythm. Lightning Talks, they happen weekly, Thursday at 5:15 p.m. Eastern. It's an opportunity for our practice area consultants to get together, learn and grow together on either something that they do on a day-to-day basis, or something that they do passionately on the side. So this week, I have the pleasure of co-hosting this space with Fabian Ahmed. He's going to be going over product management for non-PMs, so everyone has something to learn today. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to you, Fabian.
Thank you, Jen. Really appreciate it. Thank you for all joining. So yeah, as Jen mentioned, where this week's discussion is about product management for non-PMs. So if you are a product manager, then that's okay. You can join as well too. But maybe you can help chime in the quick Q&A for to do a deeper dive onto this. So first things first, right? So product manager role. So you have the theory. I guess first question here is, how many of you have seen this diagram? The specific diagram, like for the product manager role?
What a good mix here. So it looks like we have 50-50.
Okay, that's pretty good. I mean, I had a huge presentation set up if it's a yes or no, right? But now, no, I'm joking. Okay, so that's good. So I've seen that, a lot of people have seen this, and this is a very common thing that you see in theory, right? But the reality is more like this, okay? Because there's no such thing as one business unit, right? There's so many different business departments. You have operations, you have sales. And if you notice here, we have product again, because again, you're not working on just one product. So the idea of this I wanted to showcase is that a product manager really kind of sits in between a lot of different areas, right? And it's actually quite hectic, and it can be quite challenging at times, right? So I want to really depict this because this is a very simplistic version, and in my opinion, it's a lot more complicated than that. So again, so the high level, that's essentially what a product manager does: understands the requirements for all these departments and then incorporates that into the product. Now, back to the presentation at hand. Scenario. So you're a new team member, right? You go to a new client, a new project, a new company, etc. And you get assigned a bunch of tasks, whether it's user stories, backlog items, and you have to basically enhance the existing product. I mean, ultimately, that's what we all do here, right? Whether you're a developer, designer, etc. Now, the problem though is you have no idea what the product is actually about. Okay, you don't know what problem it solves or who will use it. Again, this is for non-product managers. If you're a product manager, you probably should know, but if you're not, it's not the end of the world. The most information you really have is a Jira ticket, right, or an Azure ticket or whatnot with the basic user story, which is too high level. Or you may have a requirements document, but it's too lengthy with like 1,000 pages, so many, perplexed, like extremely complicated diagrams. It's unreadable. So what do you do, right? And even worst case scenario, you may not even have a product manager or an analyst that could be there to help you, right? So the purpose of this presentation is very, very simple, okay? It's to help new team members get up to speed on products so then you can build features that solve business problems. That's it. Very simple, okay? Now, in order to do that, right, there's really three things that you need to get a better understanding of, right? The first two I'm going to say is a must-have. The third one, if you can get to it, kudos to you. That would be fantastic. So one is, who are the actual users, right? Very simple. What are the features that are on this particular product, and also understanding the company, competitors, and market. So let's dive a little bit deeper into this. So the product users, right? So you got to think about who's actually using this product directly, right? Now, if we think of retail, e-commerce website, you could think of retail customers, etc. But you could think of business-to-business applications as well, such as like Salesforce. Is it like the sales team that's going to be using this, so then they can get more sales? Is there some compliance team, so then they can make sure the company is compliant with certain policies? I mean, you can go on and on, but really understand that. Is this a business-to-business product? Is this a business-to-consumer product? Who's actually going to be, pushing the button, clicking here, clicking there, right? And try to understand some of their demographics, right? And what are their characteristics, right? Is this, typically millennials? Is this, I don't know, some kind of, like what kind of challenges do they have? Is this meant for, I don't know, senior citizens where it's like, pensions and so forth? Then again, you have to think about this a little bit differently. And what problems are they trying to solve, right? The other thing you have to think about is who will be affected by the outputs of this product, right? So, for example, if it's a banking application or it's an investment application and you're going to go buy some stocks and bonds, then there will be regulators that will want to know that information, right? So it's not just about who's using that particular system, but who else is going to be affected by the use of that system. So again, if it's a retail, if it's something like e-commerce, maybe the accounting department wants to know and so forth. And again, same questions for those two, what are their characteristics? What problems are they trying to solve? A simple diagram that actually I do, again, I don't put this in requirements documentation or anything like that, but sometimes I just do it in quickly sketch, is you can create something like this. Now I know this is a bit old school, it's like use case diagram, but ultimately, on the left-hand side, you have who are actually using the system. You have a retail customer, say you have a retail e-commerce website. And then on the right-hand side is, okay, well, what are the outputs of it and how is it going to affect them? So you have order fulfillment, you have accounting. And again, this is a very simplistic model. Obviously, there's a lot more users and so forth, right? But I would encourage, you guys to do this on, really just sketch it out if you don't have this information. So that's how you get to understand the users. Next is the actual features. So to get a better understanding of the features, understand what the top features that are actually used. Again, you can get this from analytics and there's different ways you can get it, right? And really try to understand what key problems it solves. For some applications, it's easier, some others it's not, but really ask those questions depending on who it is. And sometimes you may have a product manager, but this may not be explained. So, push back and ask like, okay, what problem is this feature trying to solve? But the third one, I cannot stress enough. Okay, so this one I put in bold because if there's one thing that I prefer everyone to do, I want you to do, please, is use the system as a test user. Go into the system, click here, click there, and try to understand. Okay, what's going on here? It's the easiest and the fastest, cheapest. When I say cheapest, as in because you don't have to pull a lot of people in to really understand the system, the features, the users, and everything. So please, right? Now, again, similarly, there's a diagram. Again, this is it's essentially a use case diagram, very high level. This is another thing that I do sometimes is, so you have retail customer, that's the retail e-commerce website. What are the top things they can do? They can search products, they can buy products, they can view promotions, they can view product details, view purchase history. Now, of course, this is very simplistic. When you go search products, there's all these parameters. We can go in detail and et cetera. But the thing is to get a high level understanding of what this product really does, okay? Now, once you have done those two, if you have done those two, again, kudos to you, very, very good. I would say, if the time permits, then I would say go to this step. But if, again, I want to make sure that I cover the whole basis, right? To analyze the company and the competitors' websites, this is very simple. You go to the company's website, see what the vision is, the mission is, see what kind of products that they have, review the services, right? And a simpler way actually is to, read the white papers, and watch ads and demos, right? You could be amazed of just looking at some commercials, how much of an understanding you can get of a particular product, right? And sometimes this is better than even, speaking to people within the company or whatnot, right? Just because it's, you get to understand it very quickly. And then review market reports and trends. A very simple way to do this is literally you go on Google, say you're working on a banking application. Go to Google, right, or Bing or whatnot, but Google, yeah, I'm sure you guys have heard of it, right? And you just Google top trends in banking, right? Top trends in banking technology. If you work in healthcare, top trends in healthcare, and just read some of the top articles from there. And just based on that, you'll have a much better understanding of what's going on in the market, what key features that we'll probably want to build, et cetera, et cetera. And that's pretty much it. So in conclusion, make sure that you understand the users of the product, directly, indirectly, understand what their kind of characteristics are, know what the key features are of the particular product and what problems it solve, and also study the company, competitors in the market if you have time. Now, again, I just want to preface this is for product management for non-product managers. If you are a product manager, obviously we'll have to go in a lot more detail. There's product roadmaps. I mean, honestly, that's not one day session. That could go on for like days, months even, right? So that's really it. If you want to get more information, if you want to go deeper dive into product, right, in terms of how to actually create certain user stories, how to actually create a vision and all those things, there are two books that I could recommend. So you have the product book by the Product School, and you have Inspired by, Marty Kagan. So these are two books that are, industry standard, that if you read these two books, cover to cover, you have a very good understanding of what product does. But one thing I will caution though, okay, is this particular role it really varies from company to company, to product. And the information that you'll find in some of these books are very heavily skewed towards business to consumer technology companies, right? So if you're working on a business to business type of software, or if you're working in completely different industry, you take some of the stuff with a grain of salt, and you'll have to tailor it accordingly. Okay. So that's pretty much it. Very lightning talk, very quick, very short and sweet. I'm not sure what the time is yet. Oh yeah, I think it was exactly about 8 minutes. So that's good. So questions.